How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 5 altcoins that I am buying, and if I was wanting to get into the crypto space again, it's completely fresh. These are the tokens I would be buying right now. So with all that being said, we're going to be giving you one altcoin for each narrative that I think is going to do very well in 2025. Again, 2025's future for crypto. Some people seem to be uncertain. However, being in crypto for a decent amount of time now, as well as being through certain cycles and seeing what and how things have played out before and what and how things are playing out right now, as well as looking ahead, looking towards accesses of information with people who have access to knowledge that I myself really don't have access to. Seeing what they are saying privately, I see things still going very well. Now, is there a possibility we do not see an alt season? We've gone over this before, even last year when things were going well. I've said numerous times that there's also a chance that no alt season comes. But again, things like that really are uncertain. And I just like to point out that I'm more confident in an alt season coming than there not being one. We've gone over the factors of why that is, as well as what I know from people who, again, have access to a lot more information than I do. And I'm talking multi-millionaires who go over things within the markets that they themselves are still bullish on. So that leads me to, again, I'm not going to, I have 4 or 5 years of experience within the crypto market, but I'm not on the level that the multimillionaires are that I am talking to, who do actually have access to the information and even more time within the markets, who are saying that really there should be no panic within the altcoin investor right now. That's my take. That's from people I've heard. You can agree to disagree, but again, that is where I'm sitting currently, hence why I'm giving you guys this video. So Bitcoin is currently around 93,650. We had actually something very interesting happening where we had like 14 green 1 hour candles in a row, which is very interesting. And these are small little inches up towards the graph. We've since fallen off. We had sell pressure, and we're currently sitting around $93,000. So it seems we've bounced off the $92,000 point for Bitcoin and bounced back up from that. And then we hit like a floor of around 95,000. That's when I guess I'd like to say the 14-hour or the 14-hour climb came to that 95,000 point, and we have yet to retest that. So maybe we're coming back down to 92,000. It looks like that could be a possibility, and then we bounce back up. We'll have to see. Again, we're still holding above 90,000. That's why I'm also pretty bullish on what things are doing right now. I found something interesting. We had a reaction to the news that the economy is doing well. And essentially what that means is that there's not going to be a lot of rate cuts, is what that essentially hints at. And if you guys remember last year, rate cuts did impact the markets in a positive way. But again, we've gone over that markets are literally just controlled off of emotions. So if no rate cuts are expected, or not a significant rate cuts are expected, well then traders are going to be doing what traders emotionally are going to be doing. However, logically, they did do some logical decisions within asset classes, because again, with the economy being well, what that ultimately does is you have a transfer of riskier assets to then safe assets that are going to move well with a strong economy, if that makes sense. So basically, people went away from risky assets and now are into safe assets. That's not everyone, but that is a reason why we are seeing some fluctuation. However, this has happened before. numerous times, and it's really not impacted the markets that much. I mean, look at the fact that we're still holding above $90,000 with Bitcoin. It's a pretty big point there to see. And yeah, everything's still checking out here. So that was the crypto market part or update part of the video. But let's get into the juicy part and talk about altcoins. The altcoins I'm in, the altcoins that I would recommend for each narrative that I think is going to be good to have your A hand in for the markets. None of this is financial advice, by the way. Just like to clarify that. So if I pull up my tab here, just to show, we're going to be talking about the first token, which is going to be Render. So Render is a token that we've gone over a couple of times on the channel. I believe we did so in spring of 2024, and then I talked about it not too far from now. I'd say a month or two ago we talked about Render, but I'm still very bullish on Render as an AI token. So our first narrative is AI, and I feel one of the best AI tokens that you can be in is Render. This is one of the most widely known cryptos in terms of the AI narrative ever. This token, I remember when it first came out, a lot of hype around it, and it certainly has lived up to that. I believe if we check to see what it's trading at now, it's, I mean, of course, still in the single digits, but it's around $7, so almost up to that $10 range. And I mean, if you would have bought in earlier in November, you'd have bought in around $4. You could almost be at a double by now. But of course, this is a high cap coin, so this is going to be at around $3.73 billion in market cap. Another point with this AI coin is that this is essentially what most would consider a fundamental, I guess I'd like to say, a token that actually has a use case and is actually doing things fundamentally right for the crypto community, whereas like a meme coin might not so, or you know, an influx of AI agents might not so. And they really aren't having that much focus towards them. The high caps, I should say. The high caps really aren't having much attention because a lot of people are focusing on the quick gains that can be found within the trending narratives, which we'll go over a couple of those trending narratives. But that is why we're not seeing pretty good price action for a very strong project like that of Render. And again, I mean, not only Render, but stuff like Avalanche, so AVAX. XRP had a good run, but it continued, it's kind of flatlined right now, and even down. I want to see where XRP is at. XRP is currently at $2.27. Not much movement from that, but you're seeing movement from AI agents, you're seeing movement from meme coins. It's all about profit rotation. But I do think there will be a time when high caps again do see light. They are, in terms of crypto, safe, especially if someone's wanting to get allocation in altcoins and wants anywhere from a 10% gain to a 200% gain, so a triple, then people are going to be looking at high caps. And so Render is definitely a high cap that cannot go understated. For those of you who don't know what Render is, essentially what people do is, well, here's, I guess, the bio. The Render network connects artists looking to render next-gen 3D media with near unlimited GPUs and a decentralized global network, AI GPUs next. So what does Render do? They essentially offer a platform where users can essentially leverage out the power of their GPUs. So I have my 4080 Super here that I could utilize on the Render network. Then someone who's looking to render next-gen 3D media, hence the name Render, would then go ahead and utilize my GPU. So that is something that Render provides, and it's actually a project that has a very, very high amount of connections. In terms of, they partner with NVIDIA, not directly, but they work with NVIDIA, Apple is a partner as well. There's some other partners. Yeah, it's honestly crazy, especially with what NVIDIA just released at the CES in terms of the 50 series GPUs. But not only that, but NVIDIA's talk on AI and other solutions that Render is going to have even more of a hand in. So for future proof, if you believe in NVIDIA and believe what NVIDIA can do, then Render is going to be that for you guys. And definitely something that I would just not go wrong with if I'm looking for an AI pick long term, just simply off its connections. I think Render long term even is going to do well. And that's past, 2025, 2026. Again, it's going to move probably within or with the crypto market. But just if it continues to innovate and continues to do what it's doing, I see Render potentially being a strong coin for years to come, in top 50 at least. So definitely cool to see that. Render definitely is a project that I would get into. As far as price predictions, I'm not going to get into price predictions for any of these coins. I'm just going over why I'm so bullish on these. Again, Render, short bull list, great tokenomics. You can get into your tokenomics and look into that yourself. But tokenomics are great. First of all, the connections are near limitless, and then it is doing what a lot of cryptos are not doing. It's one of the most well-known AI coins. And what it does is easily accessible, and it's pretty innovative, I'm not gonna lie. But the connections are really what we're looking at to be the biggest pro for Render. So the next token we're gonna be getting into is Aerodrome Finance. We've talked about Aerodrome Finance a pretty large amount on this channel, but this is definitely a coin that I will continue to be bullish on for until this token just falls on the face of the earth. I love this token so much. You can see ETH trading all moving to Aerodrome. Over the past 24 hours, just an hour ago, Aerodrome drove more ETH volume than the top pools on Mainnet, Base, and Arbitrum combined per DEX screener. And that's from using Uniswap. So Aerodrome, in terms of trading, is continuing to do phenomenal. They are even launching AI projects, incentives. They're incentivizing those as well. They have a bunch of liquidity pool rewards. So Aerodrome, as this will, I guess, be the base token we're going to be talking about, though this, of course, is a DeFi token, but the base narrative, this is the token we're going to be talking about for the base narrative. I love the base narrative so much. So many undervalued projects in there. That's where a lot of these AI agents are starting to actually come out on. But yeah, Aerodrome is fantastic. It will continue to be fantastic. Fundamentally, as a project, this token is doing awesome. Now, a concern tokenomically with Aerodrome is the inflation, which understandably so, because it should be, I believe, at around a $2 token right now. Market cap wise, it's actually sub $1 billion at 850 million actually, but it's at $1.14. So it's definitely taken a hit. This is just what's happening within the entire market. But again, we've talked about this coin at 37 cents when it dipped in summer. We've talked about this coin in 60 cents. If you've taken profits since then, good, because we've hit $2. But if you haven't even entered into Aerodrome, and if I was looking to have an entrance, I would probably look to enter in at around this level. I think it's very oversold right now, and it continues to just be the token of base, guys. Like, in terms of what it's doing fundamentally, this token continues to be the token of base. I mean, just it's crazy what this is doing. It continues to outperform Uniswap in multiple levels. Just go ahead, go to Aerodrome's X page and just scroll through, and you're gonna see a bunch of achievements that it continues to do. That is just crazy. It's crazy to see the immense growth that this project has had. I very much love to see it, and I can't wait to see what this project continues to do. Again, not going to get into price prediction for this one, just because I don't necessarily like to do that for a video like this. If I was breaking down the project one by one, or one per video, then we'd go into that. But we're just simply going to the fact that this is just a hands down good project. I mean, sub $1 billion market cap is going to be pretty good for the best fundamental token, the best DeFi token on base. Again, DeFi has barely any attention right now, so hence why this is tanking. I mean, it's down 50% on the month. So might want to look at this token if you do want an entry point. Now start looking into that, because I do think there's going to be a time for DeFi. I've said that multiple times, and it's just going to have to happen. There's so much attention on just degen narratives such as AI agents, meme coins. There's a lot of attention on those, whereas there's no attention on things like render, AI. They're, I guess, AI agents, but AI in terms of like what render does, DeFi as well. There's not too much attention on those, which is very interesting. But nonetheless, I think things are going to be just fine. Now, speaking of a project that does deal with DeFi, it is also on base, so it's not going to be our base pick, but it's going to be our DeFi pick. This one is going to be more on the riskier side. We've talked about this one a couple of times now on this channel, a decent amount. And a lot of you complain about its tokenomics, how it's just a crappy project. I do not believe so. I've never believed so. And I mean, even looking at what Jesse Pollock says, again, one of the really who's pulling the strings with the base community, who basically is running everything, he has very high regard for this token. And yeah, Moonwell is definitely a token that I still seen doing very well. Again, it's simply just very undervalued, I'd say. I know people with pretty big sizable positions in this, guys with some millions of dollars, who really do believe in Moonwell. Moonwell, again, is a project that, in terms of DeFi and in terms of what it does, if you don't know, it's a lending platform where users can borrow and lend cryptocurrency. There's fees, incentives as well that goes to stakeholders in liquidity pools as well. There's so much that goes on with this coin. They also have the Moonwell card that is digital that will actually come to a physical format. So it's a Visa card that I actually have myself that you can utilize and spend your crypto simply using the card. You just load up crypto on the Moonwell Visa card and you can spend it literally wherever that accepts visas. You can use that card, which is crazy. So definitely cool to see that. It's one of its kind, again, with a debit card in terms of crypto. What would you even call that? Crypto card, a Visa there. Now, again, with what it does, it has $1 billion+ worth of liquidity that flows in and out of it, I believe, or that's how much. I forget what the exact metric was, but just know that they are crushing it. Again, another project I would check the X page out on. Now, in terms of price, Moonwell right now is sub 5 cents. Now, we've talked about this coin at 3 cents. If you're able to get on this coin when we called it out in the video, or in the first time we talked about Moonwell, this is at 3 cents. So you'd be at almost a double now. But that's assuming you didn't sell when we hit around 11 cents. So we almost 4x from when we talked about this token. However, we have since dipped to that 5 cent range. So we're still above, that 3 cent snipe that we had literally right before the pump, now that I look at it. But it is currently at a $156 million market cap. If the market still goes bearish, we could see a push to 4 cents. I don't know if it'll go lower than that. Now, one big thing is the token unlocks with this token. There are token unlocks. And with that in mind, if you actually look and see with the token unlocks, with the ecosystem development, you have around 50%, where starting in June 2022, they are going to be released till I believe June 2026. I think it's just a 4-year period where I believe they release tokens monthly. But we've seen Moonwallet's token unlocks really not impact the price as much as people had actually expected. People always complain about token unlocks. And there's even really big market cap projects in the billions that have token unlocks that still don't even suffer price drops from those. So something else to consider there, that token unlocks really aren't drastic for each and every coin, and Moonwallet is one of those. So again, I'm not too worried about it. Now, let's look about some pros and cons on Moonwallet's tokenomics, because again, people have addressed this in previous videos, hence why I want to bring this up now. So let's go ahead. I have some bullet points here. Let's go over strong incentive structure. There are huge incentives that Moonwallet offers for users for the lending and borrowing process, but also, just in terms of just encouraging people to use the platform in its own. So that is significant because it brings more users on board, which again then boosts the price. You're also having more liquidity flowing into Moonwell. More use case obviously is better. So that is of course good in terms of tokenomics, but they have the government's focus, where their governance tokenomics empower the community, giving holders control over protocol upgrades and direction, which aligns with their decentralized ethos. So that is pretty big because the community is able to go ahead and deal with the tokenomics in some way, as well as sustainable emissions. So this is another thing, vesting schedules for early contributors and gradually decreasing reward emissions reduces inflationary pressures, preserving token value over time. So there it is, guys. Vesting schedules for early contributors, gradually decreasing those reward emissions. That is very important also for those token unlocks to not heavily impact the price of the token himself. When you're gradually decreasing the reward emissions, it's going to be less and less impact on the price of the token if people are simply just selling it. And so now looking at ecosystem development, the allocation for ecosystem growth, partnerships, grants, or developer incentives shows a forward-thinking approach to scalability, but then deflationary mechanisms. So this is something that they could do. If they incorporate token burns or fee redistribution, they can further support long-term value, but we have yet to see that. Now, what are the concerns? There are definitely concerns. Let's talk about the dependence on the liquidity incentives. There are pros and cons of liquidity incentives as well. So there are a heavy reliance on incentives, and what that can do is lead to mercenary capital. What that essentially means is people can hop on Moonwell, essentially use the liquidity incentives to get a decent amount of Moonwell and then dip, sell, and then never go back again. That obviously is not what Moonwell is looking to have. They're not looking to have users that do that. They're looking for users who will go onto Moonwell, utilize the platform, and then continue to utilize the platform. So they're not looking for people to go ahead and just steal everything, or not steal everything, but you know what I mean, take advantage of the system in a way that they're really not using it. They're just using it for rewards. So something to keep in mind there. But again, they do have some protections in place to prevent things like that from happening. Now, in terms of market saturation, DeFi space is crowded with lending platforms. I mean, you have AAVE, which is one of the biggest lending platforms, which we commonly compare Moonwell to, and then Compound. Now, why I think Moonwell is better is because A, it's on base, but B, Moonwell debit card, if utilized within the entirety of the crypto community and Moonwell continues to improve, could be very, very, very innovative and set it apart. I mean, just that the fact that they have a debit card in the first place sets them apart already. So they're already improving in that aspect and are unique. So that one, though there are lending platforms, I still feel like Moonwell, just like Aerodrome, is excelling in its field. So governance risk, governance tokens concentrate power among large holders, which can lead to centralization if whales dominate voting. that is definitely true. However, it's not too big of a concern as people would think, just because of the amount of holders that are using Moonwell. It really is not too big of a concern, but it definitely is a concern there. And then adoption and usage. For tokenomics to work, Moonwell must maintain or grow user adoption. Without consistent demand, incentives alone might not sustain the ecosystem. That is 100% true. So the adoption and usage part is definitely true. You need people to use it in order for the project to continue going. The data is showing that people are. The data is showing that it continues to onboard more people using Moonwell to its fullest advantage. So definitely cool to see that. So that addresses another concern. So that is the pros and cons of Moonwell in terms of tokenomics and other things that we've identified there. You can debate that all you want. I still think it's a very strong project that, as long as we get attention to DeFi and high caps that actually offer utility coins, then these projects are going to do well regardless. I mean, especially with what Moonwell's doing, like I said, very much love to see it. Now, we're going to get into the degen narratives that we're going to be talking about, because nonetheless, these are narratives that are still going to do well and are kind of the center of attention within the crypto market right now. Hence why we're going to be talking about them, because just because we can be in these safe utility coins does not mean we should shy away from the profit that is currently in front of us with, the AI agent narrative we're going to be talking about, as well as the meme coin narrative, which I'm sure you all know. So AI agents we've talked about previously in a dedicated video, so I'm not going to explain the entire narrative, but we're going to be talking about a token we've already talked about on this channel. But again, it's a token I want to bring up. This is going to be CRO, so CR0W. Look this up on X. This is a very, very new token that is a threat to all paid groups. I guess we can say that. A threat to all paid groups that do have analysts in them. That's CRO. So CRO is a AI agent that essentially deals with TA. It deals with technical analysis. It literally will go and look at a numerous amount of altcoins, and I believe they randomly just will post these. Now you can actually go ahead and I guess request CRO to go ahead and answer one of your questions. So again, or just for reference, 2 hours ago, some guy asked thoughts on Bitcoin considering the data just out by the Fed. Bitcoin is at 94,000, holding steady despite the Fed data release. Market reaction shows caution. Watch for a break above $95,500 for bullish confirmation, or below 93,000 for bearish continuation. Let the structure guide your next move. Liquidity still rules. So, I mean, you literally have this AI agent going ahead, interacting with other AI agents, but also making its own posts. This is an AI agent that's severely, severely undervalued simply because of the utility it actually provides. It's talking specifically about tokens and where you would actually look to enter in on projects, and even long and short. It goes into those. So it tells you how to essentially plan out your entries, and it tells you when to maybe even plan out your exit strategy. So it's pretty interesting to see this. I mean, seriously, like that a token can even do something like this and on its own do technical analysis and respond to others' questions regarding technical analysis. That's something that we have yet to see in the crypto market. And if I'm betting on an AI agent, I'm betting on one that can actually benefit traders. And this is one that can benefit traders. So this is going to be my AI agent pick, just because, and again, Brian actually shared this with us on Kaizen along with 3 other AI agents. And I found this one to be the most enticing. The other 3, again, that's reserved for Kaizen members. But because I am invested in this token, I'm going to be talking about it. Yeah, very bullish on this token. just to see what it's going to do after looking into it. One of my top convictions. So very much like to see what this token is going to be doing in the future. Definitely check it out if you guys are interested. Now, the final token, sure you might not be surprised, is Ski Mask Dog. Why? Because we're talking about meme coins. So the meme coin space, the one I'm in, the one I'll continue to be in, is Ski Mask Dog. That's kind of what you have to do with community-based tokens. A lot of people continue to say, oh, this is shilled. Oh, why do you shield this token? I don't understand what the point of meme coins. Like, if you don't understand what the point of meme coins are, they're to promote. They're to promote, to spread, and to grow community behind. If I was to simply just go ahead and never mention this token, that would make no sense for me, because in order for meme coins to pump, in order for meme coins to do well, you have to promote them. So the fact that some people would say not to, it doesn't make much sense. But Ski Mask Dog, are there any important developments? Yes. I mean, first of all, they just made a donation to animals affected by the wildfires, guys. So they made a $500 donation. Now, I believe that was from some help with a wallet that they have that people can donate to. And that wallet has gone ahead and raised $3,700 so far. And that was 2 days ago. So you can still donate to this wallet. And I mean, they just posted the fact that they actually have gone ahead and donated to an animal shelter. I'm gonna actually have to make a tweet on that. So they went ahead and donated to, if you don't know, California has insane fires right now. Animals affected to that, they've went ahead and donated to the humane shelter, which is just crazy to see, because I know Aerobud, a similar token we've talked about, does around the same thing. That's kind of Aerobud's whole stick, is that they donate a certain amount of their proceeds, or whatever it is, to animal shelters and things of that liking. And Ski Mask is now doing the same thing. So I mean, the dog's doing what it should be doing. No, but in all seriousness, it's great to see that Ski Mask Dog continues to hold good levels. For those of you who are able to exit at 30 cents, that's awesome. We've called this coin out at 3 cents, so you would have 10x from that point. But again, I see a lot more potential with Ski Mask Dog. I myself, I've said this before, I've already taken out my initial and I've taken out profits on this token, but I still do have a moon bag that's pretty sizable that I still see from this level. This is the only one I'll talk about price predictions for, though, this is of course probably one of the riskier on the list. I see this going to $1 to $5 being peak. But yeah, I see $1 definitely being obtainable, $1 billion market cap in a strong heated market. That could happen. Is it guaranteed? It absolutely is not. If you want to be safe, pick the coins that we've talked about that are safe, the fundamentals, the utility coins. You're going to be fine with those. But in regards to Ski Mask Dog, it's going to be a token that you're going to have to just have some faith in. I think it's a token that is destined for $1 billion market cap. But again, we'll see. Very interesting to see what it does, as well as the other projects. And this is officially my longest video I've ever done, as we've gone into depth on some of these projects more than others. But overall, I feel this was a decent video where we've, again, just straight up, these are the projects that I myself am invested in and do see actually performing very well. So not showing you anything here because I own every single one of them and it would not benefit me whatsoever. Just wanting to give you guys value. And with all that being said, I will see you guys later.